Hello, everybody. It's Royce Eddings here, a Royce in the House YouTube channel. I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. Tonight, we're going to be covering my favorite rock and roll band of all time. I've been a fan since 1969 when Led Zeppelin 1 and 2 both came out. I was in high school. I was actually a junior in high school when Led Zeppelin 1 and 2 came out. And we all lost our minds, and I've been a fan ever since. So anyway, I'm really excited to be talking about my favorite rock and roll band of all time, Led Zeppelin. So, okay, we're bringing somebody on now. We're bringing on a co-host, and it's Johnny L. So, hey, Johnny, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Okay, good. Just checking. So anyway, I don't know if you heard what I said. We're going to be covering Led Zeppelin tonight, but what we're covering is my top 20 picks. Okay, my personal top 20 picks. So we've been joined by Dan. We've been joined by the Music Sanctuary, Jeff Davidson so far. Hey, I just want to say to everybody, thank you all for coming because I had to cancel last night. Circumstances out of my control. So even today was a little bit on the stressful side. But you know what I'm going to do before I start ranking these albums? I'm going to show all the studio albums. I own all the studio albums, and I'm going to show them one at a time here. And we're going to do that right now. French Vinyl Addict. Hey, thanks so much for joining us, bro. Okay, so we're going to start out with this first studio album released in 1969. And that, of course, is the self-titled album Led Zeppelin, also referred to as Led Zeppelin 1. Let's see. Is this the... Okay, there's a screen.
That's better.
Yeah. So this is Led Zeppelin 1, all right? And I have had this in one form or another my entire life. You know, I had an 8-track, CDs, cassettes, albums. I've had it in one form or another forever. And I love this album. It didn't really have any singles. So a lot of people actually didn't hear about Led Zeppelin or wasn't aware of Led Zeppelin until Led Zeppelin 2, the second album, came out in the same year, 1969, with the single Whole Lotta Love. And that, I'm telling you right now, that single Whole Lotta Love just blew everybody away. It played on all the jukeboxes like 24 hours a day. It was like the biggest thing in the world when it came out. So that's Led Zeppelin 2, along with Led Zeppelin 1. They both came out in 1969. Okay, now this is an interesting story with this album. And I'm not really doing albums. I just had to do this and show what we're going to be talking about. This is Led Zeppelin 3, okay? And Led Zeppelin 3 came out in 1970. Once again, I was still in high school when Led Zeppelin 3 came out. And let me say this, okay? When Led Zeppelin came out, it was all very bluesy, blues-based covers and things like that. Of course, Led Zeppelin has a way of making every song they do their own, okay? And that's exactly what they do, and they do it better than anybody. So it was a very bluesy, that first album, and it's songs they were already playing, you know, when they formed the new Yardbirds right after the old Yardbirds disbanded. Original Led Zeppelin lineup called the new Yardbirds formed to go do some Scandinavian concert tours that were already booked by the Yardbirds. So Jimmy Page put a group together, the Led Zeppelin crew, and they went and did it. But anyway, I didn't want to get into all that tonight. I might be doing a Led Zeppelin album show with a little more of a history and background. But when Led Zeppelin 3 came out, at the time, now, if you just discovered Led Zeppelin 20 years ago, you would not know the difference probably now. But at the time, it was so different from 1 and so different from 2. I think I was the only one of my friends that even liked it. Everybody was kind of walking away with it. Some people thought Led Zeppelin 2 with the single Whole Lotta Love was a sellout. They actually preferred Led Zeppelin 1. But they still liked 2, but they thought, yeah, now they're just trying to, you know, going for commercial success and selling out. But when 3 came out, it was like, at the time, 1970, no one liked it. Now, as soon as I heard about it, since I love Led Zeppelin so much, I ran out and bought the 8-track, right, for my car. And little by little, I listened to it once. I didn't like it. And I started listening to it on my drive to school and back. And within a couple of weeks, I liked it, and I've liked it ever since. It's become 7 times platinum. A lot of people like it. But I just thought this shared that little bit of history about how unliked it was initially because it was so different from the other songs, other albums. But this is kind of an interesting cover because there's a little dial here. I'll try to get it close. And you rotate the dial and you see it's moving in those little circles, okay?
Yeah.
And that's how the original cover was made. This is not an original, it's just it's the classic album on 180-gram vinyl, remastered by Jimmy Page. And the cover and everything's been replicated. It's kind of a trippy album. I like it. Next up is what many people call their favorite album. And it may be my favorite album. I love Led Zeppelin 2 and I love Led Zeppelin 1. But from 3 forward, what I call the newer albums, this is Led Zeppelin 4. And it was released in 1971, the year I graduated high school. Okay. And what makes this really special is Led Zeppelin's biggest selling song of all time, Stairway to Heaven, is on it, amongst a whole bunch of other really good songs. And, people love Led Zeppelin 4. It's not even really technically called 4. It's just called Led Zeppelin or Zoso, or it's got Black Dog on it. Fantastic song, rock and roll, great song. The Battle for Evermore, Stairway to Heaven. I mean, these are all top songs in their catalog. And then it goes into Misty Mountain Hop, 4 Sticks, Going to California. I love all these songs, but Going to California has a special meaning to me. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like I lived these lyrics right after I left my home for California for good at 18 years old. Saved $400 and headed for California, and never looked back. And there's lyrics here that just really represent. Even Jimmy Page says the same thing about the lyrics. He's telling the story of his life with some of these lyrics. But okay, so that's number 4. Now I bought this from my good friend Pat. He's got his own online store that sells albums. Okay, here he is warning me about the OB stripe, which I've got in the back. It normally goes around. It's like, don't lose that, man. It'll lose value. You got to keep everything. You got to keep all the stuff, the shrink wrap, the labels on the shrink wrap. Keep everything. So he's letting me know that, So anyway, so this is their 5th studio album, Houses of the Holy, and it's right up there with 4. To me, it doesn't top 4, but it's a fantastic album. I would highly recommend it. But look at this artwork. That's one thing Led Zeppelin was famous for, was the artwork. A bunch of naked children climbing up a mountain. And there's a story about all that too. So anyway, House of the Holy is a great album. This happens to be the classic album on 180-gram vinyl, remastered by Jimmy Page. Once again, just like the one I have 4. Okay, so that's the 5th of 8 studio album. We'll talk about that. There's a little controversy. Some people say there's 9. The label says there's 9, and I have that here. But anyway, a lot of people rank this Physical Graffiti as the number 1 Led Zeppelin album. I have a lot of friends that call this number 1. You know what? I didn't finish what I was saying. I got a little bit involved in some other things. But on this Houses of the Holy album, I bought a bunch of these albums from Pat Lucero. He sells vinyl online. Very reasonable, very professional, ships quickly. I've known Pat for a long time. You will not be disappointed if you contact his business named The Wizard's Lair. The spelled Thee, The Wizard's Lair. And that is his online album selling store. And I highly recommend him, The Wizard's Lair. And I've bought several albums from him, several that I'm showing right now I bought from him, including this one, obviously. So that was, like I said, Houses of the Holy, number 5. Number 6 on the list, as I was saying, also 1975. Okay, so there was a gap from 73, Houses of the Holy, to 75, Physical Graffiti. And there's a lot of people that I have a lot of friends and everything that call this physical graffiti the best album Led Zeppelin ever made. And it's all about opinions. This is a great album. Just like my list tonight of the top 20 songs, it's my list. And it's very personalized because, I lived Led Zeppelin in real time. A lot of things happened, partying and stuff, listening to certain albums. And so, there's a lot of things that come into play when you're ranking, not just, you know, somebody with a audiophile ear would be using. There's just circumstances involved with the whole process for me anyway. Okay, and that's what we're doing. So this is Physical Graffiti. This is a great album. Okay, 40th anniversary edition on 180 gram vinyl, and there is some great many of the songs on the list I'm going to be going through are on this album. Okay, so that is number what, 7? Yeah. Okay, so number 8, no, that was number 6. Number 7 is an interesting album called Presence. Now, look in the middle of that table. You'll see this black statue, right? Now, they made a bunch of those right after this album came out. And if you had one now, it would be worth a small fortune. They sell for thousands of dollars. You can buy a duplicate. Michael Nolan's got a duplicate in his studio, and I remember when he unboxed it. And it was totally cool. And I said, hey, I got one of those, but it's a cardboard cutout. Well, where did you get that? And I said, well, it came with my Presence album. And 3 or 4 people were on the show. It wasn't my show. I can't remember where we were at, but no, it was my show. I said, I have one of those, but it's just a cardboard cutout. And everybody thought I was crazy. Well, here it is. Here's my cardboard cutout of that. And they said, well, where's your album made? And I said, well, Germany. And they go, you wouldn't get that here. So, you fold these legs out and you can stand it up. And it's a cardboard duplicate of what's on this front cover. It's got a name. It's kind of an odd name. And you know what? I hate to say it, but I just can't remember what the name of this is right now. The thing, something, just a one-word name. But anyway, so that's Presence. Presence has some good songs on it. And some of those are on, or at least one of them is on the list that I'm going to be discussing in a little bit here. Okay, so this is the last studio album, number 8, and it is called In Through the Outdoor. Okay, In Through the Outdoor. We're just talking about studio albums tonight. Interesting thing about this one is it comes wrapped in this plain brown bag. I've taken that cover off and just put it back in the plastic sleeve here. But this is In Through the Outdoor. Both sides pretty much look like this. I'm just saving this, preserving it, And I don't know if a single one of these songs made it on my list, but I've never heard a bad Led Zeppelin song. I love Led Zeppelin. Okay, now this is the one that I wanted to mention that kind of different. This is Coda. Now the record label calls this a studio album. This came out 2 years after John Bonham's death. He died in 1980. This came out in 1982, Coda. And it was a collection of 8 songs that they'd made throughout their career, Zeppelin, and they just never released any of them. So they put them all together a couple of years after Bonham had died and came out with this album called Coda. Not officially considered by most a studio album, but the record label calls it a studio album. So that would technically be 9 studio albums. And so anyway, this doesn't really count, but this is the soundtrack for The Song Remains the Same. And this is good stuff right here. I actually have a 4-album box set of Song Remains the Same as well. So anyway, so this is pretty cool. I can't really, one of the lists I saw were calling it a studio album and saying that there was 10, but there's not. This is not one, but it's getting honorable mention. I have a lot more Led Zeppelin albums, and CDs. I've got Led Zeppelin box sets, like the Mothership. I've got a small CD box set called Celebration Day, and that's when John Bonham, they put on a concert to honor Ahmet Ertegun, their manager. Not their manager, but their record label. He started Atlantic Records. But anyway, so I've been waiting for that album Celebration Day to come back in stock. You know, I saw Jason Bonham recently. Jason Bonham filled in for John Bonham, his father, who had died 2 years earlier. And so they were going in the studio, they were working, and everybody was anticipating a concert tour with Jason Bonham, John Bonham's son. And for some reason, the plug got pulled and it just never happened. And that's kind of heartbreaking. But we still have Celebration Day. And the set I'm going to be buying, I can't remember if it's 2 or 3 albums, but it also comes with a Blu-ray DVD. And it's sold out at Tower Records. I'm on a waiting list, but on that waiting list for like 6 fucking months, you know. So, I mean, it's really sold out. And I'll be damned if I'm going to go on eBay or someplace like that and pay $300 for it when it cost me like $100 to buy it brand new on Tower if they ever get it back in stock. So anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Yes.
The name of the statue is Obelisk.
Obelisk? You know,
Yeah.
I actually haven't heard that name for it before. Really? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Obelisk. Thanks.
Obelisk.
ISK. Okay.
Like that.
Okay.
Yeah, Obelisk.
Thanks, Johnny. How you doing tonight?
Not bad. Pretty good.
Hey, we got like well, that's good. We've got Caitlin Stoddard, we've got Music Sanctuary, my buddy James Watson, my friend Dan Goucher. They're all here in the chat. And let's scroll up just for a second, see if I'm missing anybody. French Vinyl Addict, we mentioned him earlier as well. Jeff Davidson. So anyway, guys, we're gonna get into my personal ranking of the top 20. Sorry, folks. I was trying to use my mouse, and it's all crowded in here with the microphone.
I thought it was me for a minute. I thought it was my.
No, I wound up
on my
dropping
end.
myself. I'm going to leave that damn thing alone. So anyway, okay, I got to start out with, and you heard me mention this when I was showing the albums. Hey, Dave, the pickup artist. What's up, brother? Anyway, so I rank as the my number one Led Zeppelin song because of my history with it in high school. Well, no. It's just the greatest song I've ever heard. Okay. What is there left to say about it that hasn't already been said? I mean, it's not only widely considered one of Led Zeppelin's finest songs in their short career, but possibly the greatest rock song of all time. I mean, that's what people say about it. It's their top selling record of all time. It's just absolutely fantastic. But anyway, so that's number one. I fell in love with that song. That's one of the songs. You know, I have all this stuff on CD too, because you can't take these albums with you. And I'll put an album in or a CD in that's got Stairway to Heaven on it. And I'm not exaggerating. I might put it on repeat on the way to work and listen to it 3 times, and put it on a repeat on the way back and listen to it 4 times. I can never fucking get enough of that song. I even have a video on my YouTube channel of me playing that opening acoustic intro of it on the guitar.
You know, there are a couple of really good masterpieces that they made, like the Stairway to Heaven. Cashmere is a really, really good one.
Absolutely, man. Cashmere is a great one. Yeah. I just want to say, I just put a link up. If anybody else wants to jump on, anybody, French Vinyl Addict, Dusty Spins, Caitlin, Music Sanctuary, Jeff, any of you guys want to jump in? Just hop on with us. Let's have some fun.
I like Going to California. I like that song too.
Well, you know what? You heard me mention that song and what it means to me, you know. But I love that song. I love that song. And I moved it up way higher in the ranking than anybody else would have. But number 2, I have Whole Lotta Love. Whole Lotta Love came out in 1969 on Led Zeppelin 2. I was in high school. Everybody lost their fucking minds. We all became huge Led Zeppelin fans. Some of us hadn't even discovered Led Zeppelin 1. They both came out within a couple of months of each other. But Led Zeppelin 1 didn't have a single like Whole Lotta Love was the single for 2. Once everybody heard 2, they just went crazy. It was like nothing you'd ever heard before. And nothing I've heard since. I mean, it's just, I love that song, Whole Lotta Love, okay? Colossal sounding, dirty as hell, gloriously lewd, sonically experimental. I mean, Whole Lot of Love needs very little introduction. Jimmy Page's iconic riff, and oh my God, is one of the purest and most timeless riffs ever created by Led Zeppelin. While John Paul Jones and John Bonham gave the tracks poise, rhythm, and muscle. But what's interesting is some of the lyrics, okay? I mean, Robert Plant's up there singing. He's like, I'm going to give you every, this is why we describe it as lewd, right? I'm going to give you every inch of my love. And let's see, how does that go? I'm going to give you every inch of my love. And of course, I want to be your backdoor man. And I mean, the song kind of goes like that, you know? And, and we all loved it. I mean, just a great song, you know? So anyway, so that's my number 2, Whole Lot of Love. Okay. Number 3 now is going to be, we're getting close. We're getting close to another favorite of mine. They're all favorites of mine. Going to California. Going to California was on Led Zeppelin 4, along with Stairway to Heaven and so many other iconic songs. And I tell you, Robert Plant stated that Going to California, it was actually almost like, excuse me, almost, duplicated what his life was at the time. And I felt so strongly about that myself. When I was 18 years old, I was moving to California, no matter what. I was not sticking around Henderson, Nevada, outside of Vegas. I was going to California. Care what? I finally saved $400. And my mother walks out the driveway and she goes, Royce, you still moving to California today? And I go, yes, I am. She goes, well, when are you leaving? I said, as soon as I finish painting my car. I was out there, had my whole car taped off, and I'm out there spraying paint on it in my parents' driveway, And I'd taken an auto body class, and I had a really nice Bing spray gun. So I'm out there painting the car, and honest to God, the back seat was already packed with all my shit. And as soon as I got the paint on, I put that stuff away, sprayer and that, and I peeled all the paper off, the windshields, the tires, the chrome, the bumpers, peel all the paper off, sticky enamel paint all over my hands. And it was like, fuck it. I jumped in my car and hauled ass for California. The paint was not dry on my car when I left for California. Well, I called my friend Miles. He lived in Long Beach. And I said, hey, Miles, we all wanted to go move to Long Beach because Miles got in so much trouble in high school. I had to go live with his sister in Long Beach. So whenever we were partying, somebody would say, we ought to go see Miles. And everybody would pop up and go, yeah, good idea. We'd jump in our cars and drive to Long Beach, California, 5 hours away. Anyway, so Miles found me an apartment. I knocked on the door, the manager's office. Who answers the door? My wife of 50 years now. So, I mean, there's so much about that song, Going to California, that I really relate to. And I just absolutely love that song, It was originally entitled Guide to California. It was thematically about earthquakes. Hence the lines, the mountain and the canyon started to tremble and shake as the children of the sun began to awake. Seems like the wrath of God's got a punch in the nose and it started to flow. I think it might be sinking. He's talking about the state sinking because of an earthquake. A little bit different, when you start really listening to the lyrics. But anyway, so yeah, that is my number 3 favorite Led Zeppelin song of all time. I think a lot of people won't rank it that high because there's so many great songs. And I'll tell you what, when I got to 10, I was going to do a top 10 ranking. When I got to 10, I said, there's no fucking way. There's so many great songs. You can't stop at 10. I mean, half of what I have on 10 could be duplicated with 10 through 20 or 20 through 30, and nobody would bat an eye because they're all so damn good, right? So it looks like my brother, Michael Nolan, I count 3 fucks, 1 shit so far. Did Royce kiss his mother with that? No, Michael, I'm just working on my goody two shoes image I have around here, So, I want people to know the real me. So anyway, I have a link up, Michael. Jump on here, brother. I mean, you love Led Zeppelin. You've done multiple Led Zeppelin shows, and you can keep me straight on all this shit because I'm ranking my personal choices for the top 20. So anyway, choice number 4 after going to California for me is, as you mentioned a little bit ago, Kashmir. Kashmir was on Physical Graffiti, which many of my friends consider the greatest Led Zeppelin album of all time. I'm getting all tongue-tied here. I'm trying to talk too fast. But anyway, so Physical Graffiti, it is a great album. And what makes it great? Well, songs like Kashmir, for example. Kashmir makes it great. And, I mean, there's been some polls that were taken, September polls, and, Kashmir got almost double the votes of Stairway to Heaven. But I still have to stand by Stairway as being my number 1 Led Zeppelin song, Anyway, so Jimmy Page said the intensity of Kashmir was such that when we had it completed, we knew we had something really hypnotic. And we couldn't even describe it to ourselves what it was, but it was very hypnotic. Okay. And it was just an amazing, amazing song. I mean, it's just the band is so amazing. The towering musical behemoth that is Kashmir took its place at the summit. A track so good you had to thumb through your thoraces to find the proper words to describe it. It was just insane, So anyway, that's my number 4 ranked song, Kashmir. Michael Nolan, The Bottom Line, PM. Oh, Caitlin, I know you love me. I'm sure she does love you, Michael. I'll vouch for you. Man of Many Voices, Kashmir, spelled with a K, not C, but yeah, Kashmir. The name of the song is Kashmir, Kashmir. Physical Graffiti, 1975. Okay. So, how you doing, Manny? Long time no see, brother. You stopped in last week. I hadn't seen you in weeks. Anyway, so number 6, my number 6 choice is none other than When the Levee Breaks. Came out in 1971. Once again, Led Zeppelin 4. So you're starting to see a trend here. Going to California, Stairway to Heaven, When the Levee Breaks. And this is why I'm not ranking my albums tonight. I may be doing that later. Hey, look at this. We have another co-host, the French Vinyl Addict. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, not too bad. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, good to see you, man. Thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah, and anytime you're out there in the chat hanging with us, you're welcome.
Bonjour, monsieur. Ça va bien?
Yeah.
Ça va, merci. Ça va, ça va.
Yeah, I think I understand. Bonjour. Manav says bonjour, monsieur. Yeah, I went through France 2 years ago on the bullet train, went underneath the English Channel and heading for Amsterdam. I didn't get to stop in France. My next trip is going to be to Paris, so my wife and I can celebrate an anniversary.
I'm originally from France, so I grew up very, very close to Germany, and I moved to Canada not last year, 2 years ago.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. Right
La
on.
belle province.
Yeah.
Exactly, in Montreal, yeah.
Bonjour, bonjour, Vinyl Addict. Où allez-vous? I took a French class, but I don't remember shit. So anyway, are you a big Led Zeppelin fan?
Yeah, I grew up with Led Zeppelin when I was 14. My father bought the remasters, double CD back then.
Yeah,
so
okay, well that's totally cool.
Got me into, and when I got into vinyl, of course, I had to buy some. I will show later maybe some copies. Yeah, some French press, some UK press. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's great, man. Yeah, we look forward to that. So anyway, my number 6, like I said, was When the Levee Breaks. My number 6 song. Once again, Led Zeppelin 4, the iconic album. Maybe my favorite album, but I can't. This is what's hard about Led Zeppelin. It's easy to make a half a dozen of them your favorite, or at least half of the 8 studio albums. They're just so damn good. Led Zeppelin 1 is excellent. 2 is excellent. 3, I've learned to love 3. 4 is excellent. House is the Holy is excellent. So, I mean, every one of those albums is somebody's favorite right there. Okay. But quite possibly one of the finest cover songs of all time, When the Levee Breaks, lifted the lyrics and title for When the Levee Breaks was lifted from a 1929 country blues song penned by Kansas Joe McCoy
McCoy,
and
yeah.
and Memphis Minnie that details the upheaval caused by the devastating. I don't know if you knew this, Johnny, but there was a huge, devastating Great Mississippi River flood in 1927, and that's what the song "When the Levee Breaks" is about. Of course, you wouldn't know it with with the band that's playing it because they're just blowing your mind playing it. But the lyrics stay true to the original. Musically, Led Zeppelin reimagined "When the Levee Breaks" as an apocalyptic sounding song, if I can get that out. So anyway, I love that song.
And this is sorry to interrupt. And this is the event.
No, go ahead.
Which caused the Afro American to go to Chicago.
Oh,
basically.
Okay.
Yeah, because when that happened, as you said, in 1928, people were poor. They had no money. They had no hope, and they were dreaming. Yeah, where are they going to go? So this is when
go exactly
to Chicago, and this is why Chicago is the city of the blues, because all what happened in 1928.
Thank you. I never heard that story before. Never. I absolutely never heard it. I really appreciate you sharing that with us, because I mean, that's how the blues got going. I mean, that's great. Are you a fan of the blues?
Oh yeah. I listen to a lot of British blues. Yeah.
Well,
Robert Johnson,
British blues, and
Robert Johnson. Yeah.
Oh, Robert Johnson. I had a four CD set of Robert Johnson, and I can't find one of them right now. I lost a lot of CDs back in the day when, I had one of those carousels that plugged into my stereo. It held 400 combination CDs or DVDs. You could put 400 in there. And when that broke, I didn't replace it. I just had of course we have the CDs in our car, but a whole bunch of stuff disappeared over time. Even my kids would walk off with stuff, but that's okay. I don't mind if my kids steal from me. So the next one in line for me, we're going through my top 20 favorite songs. First of all, Johnny, I want to ask you, and French Vinyl Addict, what is your first name?
My real French name is it's complicated. It's Romuald.
Okay.
Romuald. Yeah. Yes.
Romuald. Romuald. Okay. What do you go by? Do you have like a another name that you go by, or is
FVA in the vinyl community, French vinyl, FVA or Rami or
Rami. I like Rami.
Rami, yeah.
Rami's easy.
Romiad, right?
Oh, yeah, you got it right, Johnny. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Johnny. Johnny's right on, man. So my next favorite is going to be the Immigration Song. Okay. And let's see. Now, did I mention Achilles' Last Stand? No, I didn't. So number 7 is Achilles' Last Stand. We'll talk about that first. Do you have a favorite song or a favorite album, Led Zeppelin, Romy?
Yeah, Led Zeppelin 4 and Stairway to Heaven. I played it. I tried to learn to play the guitar because of that song.
I have a little video of me playing that opening acoustic intro on my channel. Yeah.
And that band at the beginning is very hard. And I took class.
Yeah. Oh no, it's very hard. Yeah. Well, it's all that bar chording, and I mean, it's difficult bar chording, and not like some of the other bar chords. And but anyway, so Achilles' Last Stand, sonically complex on the album Presence issued in 1976. It's one of the most visceral songs, powered by furious, relentless rhythm, cooked up by Bonham and Jones, a mind-boggling myriad of 6 layered guitar tracks. Play that in concert. Orchestrated by Page and emphatic vocals from the ever masterful Plant. Okay. So anyway, lyrically, the song touches upon mythological imagery, including Atlas, Achilles. Plant broke his ankle in a car crash in Greece, heard it again in a subsequent fall, just like the song's namesake, Achilles. But it was also inspired by Plant's travels through Morocco, Greece, Spain in the summer of 1975. That inspired that song, Achilles' Last Stand. This is the sound of the band at the top of their game in every sense of the word. Despite Jimmy Page, listing it as one of his finest achievements with Led Zeppelin, Achilles' Last Stand hasn't quite had the recognition it deserved, or it wasn't quite elevated to the standards it deserved. When critics at Rolling Stone magazine compiled their favorite Led Zeppelin songs in 2012, bewildering Achilles' Last Stand failed to even be on their list. Fortunately, listeners have a much more discerning musical ear. It has been very popular with the fans. So, any comments, guys, on Achilles' Last Stand?
I've never heard of it. No,
okay.
Because when I was a teenager, the only thing I knew about Led Zeppelin was "Stairway to Heaven," "Kashmir," and "The Immigrant Song," basically. So I'm just some of these other songs is new to me.
Yeah.
They're new to me. Right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
The only album I have of Led Zeppelin, believe it or not, is that 45 that I showed before with "Immigrant Song" on it. And I don't have any Led Zeppelin albums, right?
Oh, okay.
And I like a lot of their songs.
Right.
I've never bothered getting it for some reason.
No, I totally understand. There's people that have been around forever that I'm still discovering, that I never really, sometimes we get in like a, I don't know how I would describe it exactly, but we have our favorites. And then all these new little subgenres start coming out that don't interest us. And we breeze right through them. I'm still listening to the same music, And I've gone through phases like that. They came out with all kinds of new wave and different things, and I didn't like any of it. I didn't pay any attention to it. I have to admit, I didn't even get into punk. Okay, I did kind of like the Sex Pistols. They started to grow on me. But bands like the Ramones, I can't tell you how many times because everybody was talking about them, how many times I started to listen to them and just couldn't get through the song, even though it was 2 minutes long. I just didn't enjoy what they were doing. I have since then, lightened up a little bit after saying that. But there was very little punk that I was a fan of. And I realized it was necessary because we had so much crap that was out there, for so long. And they came back and they were raw, and it was clanging guitars, and it was, it was just raw, pure, hardcore rock and roll. And so I appreciate what it's done for rock and roll.
I was all over the place when I was a teenager, really, when you think of it. I liked some songs from Machine Head. What's that?
Hendrix.
No, the other one.
Deep Purple.
Deep Purple, right?
Yeah,
I had that album, right? And then
Yeah.
I liked some of the Led Zeppelin's tunes, but I liked the Beatles more than both of them. So I had Beatles stuff. But so I was all over the place, with the music kind of thing, right? I didn't really only the Beatles basically I clinged on to more than anything else. But the other stuff I just played it when I had it, if I had it. Right?
Yeah, I have maybe 20 Beatles albums. And it wasn't that long ago that I had one Sgt. Pepper's and these were from my older brother. Okay. That's we really got into Sgt. Pepper's. We'd hitchhike out to his house in Las Vegas and partake in a few things and listen to these like Sgt. Pepper's and Magical Mystery Tour, maybe the Cream, maybe Creedence, a lot of great stuff. And these things are just kind of like burned into my memory because my brother passed away in his late 40s. And these were the best times we ever spent together because he was 9 years older than me. He was like another parent for the longest time. Till one day he showed up with his wife to the house, and I was a kid. I was maybe 15 years old. And he goes, "Hey, Royce, let me take you for a ride in my new car." And we're zooming around town. And he goes, "Let me ask you a question." I said, "What's that, Robin?" He goes, "Do you smoke pot?" And it kind of took me by surprise. So I'm 14, he's 23. He was like an adult to me my whole life, he was so much older. And I go, "Why are you asking me that?" I was kind of perplexed. And he goes, well, because I do, and you talk like you do. So I go, oh, well, yeah, actually I do. So the next thing you know, me and my friends were hanging out at his house in Vegas and having a good time listening to music. But anyway, so next is going to be for me, number 8 on my list of 20 is Immigration Song. Came out on Led Zeppelin 3 in 1970. Do you have that album, Rami? Led Zeppelin 3?
Yeah, of course. I have a Japanese pressing of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about the Japanese pressings. They've got a
No,
lot
I
of
have.
Beatles.
Sorry, yeah, that's the second. I have a UK press.
Oh, UK. Oh, wow.
That's later pressings. It's not one of the original. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The UK pressings, in particular with the Beatles, were the holy grail. On the Parlophone label. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Right.
So that's probably 75 or 76 re-releases, but it's still UK press. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, so like the Immigration Song, clocking in at just 2 minutes and 26 seconds. Okay, really short by Led Zeppelin standards. They've got like I think Stairway's 8 minutes long. They have other 8-minute long songs. Their songs were long, and we loved how long they were because we got to hear all the improvisation, Jimmy Page and all of them really. But this song, Immigration Song, is described as a barbaric beast of a track that's built upon an instantly infectious riff and plants yowling vocals, okay, crammed with lyrical references to Norse mythology, Valhalla, I'm Coming, Viking hordes, on the sweep with threshing oar, our only goal will be the western shore. Led Zeppelin wrote Immigration Song after performing in, how do you pronounce this? Reykjavik, June 20, 1970. The opening lines, we come from the land of ice and snow, from the midnight sun where the hot springs blow. Directly referenced Iceland. Okay. So anyway, this was an amazing song, Immigration Song. I really like it. So I put that down as my number 8. What do you think, Rami? Do you like Immigration Song?
I think it has been overused in every film and comedy and TV show over here in France.
Okay.
But I like the double meaning of that song because they were about to take the U.S. by surprise. So they were in a way the Viking.
Yeah. I know. Were they still were they Led Zeppelin yet, or were they still the new Yardbirds when they were in Reykjavik? They would have been Led Zeppelin already in 1970. Yeah. They were the new Yardbirds. They started in 1969. Jimmy Page was the last guitar player with the old Yardbirds. Jeff Beck had already left, and Eric Clapton was quite a bit sooner before them. But he wound up, they had a bunch of Scandinavian dates scheduled. And when the Yardbirds fell apart, Jimmy wanted to get back on the road. He'd been an outstanding session musician. So many albums going out of the studios had his tracks on them, enhancing their albums because he was such a great guitar player. John Paul Jones was the same with bass and keyboards and stuff. Anyway, so Jimmy Page, I mean, he wanted to get back after it. So he quickly threw together the new Yardbirds while they were in the, John Paul Jones, of course. Hey, we have Groovy Lisa here. How you doing, Groovy? If you want to get your groove on, you can just hit this link and come right on the show.
You can safely say that Jason Bonham really inherited his father's genes.
You know what? You really can safely say that. I mean, I was blown away. And what was kind of fun was the opening band came out. It was a young, charismatic guy, great singer. He had a good little band. Why am I saying it like that? He had a good band. Okay, and they performed, and my wife and I both really liked him, right? And then he thanked his dad, Jason Bonham, for letting them open. So this was John Bonham's grandson's band opened for Jason Bonham. I thought that was just great, and he was good. I really expect to hear great things from him in the future. Can't remember his name, but I'll know it when I hear it. But anyway, so my next song in line, my 9 of 20, is called Rock and Roll, 1971. Once again, Led Zeppelin 4. I mean, you kind of see a trend here. There's so many of the songs on my list were from Led Zeppelin 4. This may be like the fourth one of them. And in keeping with a highly apt title, Rock and Roll is structurally based on one of the most popular structures in early rock, the 12-bar blues, made famous by all the blues musicians. And Eric Clapton, I tell you, the English musicians love the American blues. There's countless stories of, Mick Jagger running into Keith Richards, and one of them just got a blues album from America, and they spent the next several days at one of their apartments listening to it. I mean, they just loved them, and that's why there was so much blues-based music coming out of England, dating back to the British invasion. But anyway, so Rock and Roll, the song was born out of a Led Zeppelin 4 recording session at Headley Grange, when Bonham, apparently frustrated with a 4-stick drum pattern, spontaneously broke out into drum beats inspired by the Little Richard song Keep a Knocking, okay, which they initially dubbed It's Been a Long Time, was finished. The song, once Bonham, changed that whole tempo and stuff with the drum beat, they finished that song, Rock and Roll, in 30 minutes. So anyway, that I think that's a great song too. I don't expect everybody to agree with my choices, but you know what? I could have substituted stuff that's not on the list, and I could rearrange the list, and it would all still work, But you've got to put one in front of the other. They can't all be. I can't say I've got a 20-way tie, So anyway, so the next one is a favorite of mine, and I could have easily ranked it higher. It's called Over the Hills and Far Away. It's from Houses of the Holy, which is a real runner-up for my greatest album, greatest Led Zeppelin album. Love Led Zeppelin 2. I even love Led Zeppelin 1, which is a lot of blues covers that they paid royalties for later. But like I said, every song Led Zeppelin does, it's a cover. They make their own, until you really hear the history and really hear who did it before them. You wouldn't know it was a cover because their style was completely unique. Nobody played the guitar like Jimmy Page. Nobody sang like Robert Plant. Well, I can't say nobody, but they were unique. They made these songs their own. So Led Zeppelin 1 and 2 were great. I warmed up to 3 over time. Most people didn't like it initially. I love 4, and I love 5, Houses of the Holy. Those 5 right there are just like essential. If you like rock and roll, those 5 in particular are essential. So Over the Hills and Far Away, is that a song you like, Rami?
I don't have this album really. Houses of the Holy, Physical Graffiti is the 2 albums I'm still on the lookout for. So
right, Over the Hills and Far Away and Physical Graffiti. Well, I'll tell you what, if you're like me, we're out there looking for the used stuff all the time. But if you get tired of looking for the used stuff, I've got a good friend that sells vinyl online. He's got his own store, and it's called. His name is Pat Lucero. He used to be a co-host on my show a couple of years ago, and he one of the most knowledgeable people with vinyl you're ever going to meet in your life. He showed his collection off one night, and it was like so many things that were like one onlys and stuff. I mean, he's got a massive collection. He doesn't sell his used stuff. He sells new stuff. I've bought several Led Zeppelin albums and some other things from him. I think I paid $22 for this new 180 gram vinyl remastered by Jimmy Page. It sounds really good. But the name of his you can Google it and go to it. It's called The Wizard's Lair. And that "the" is spelled Thee, The Wizard's Lair. And he was known as the Wizard on one of the shows we used to go to. And really a great guy, good friends with Mark Slaughter. He's involved with all of the Mark Slaughter box sets that are coming out. You buy the box set. All four of the members of the band sign the box set, and then yeah. Anyway, he's a great guy. The Wizard's Lair. Look at this album cover. It's a bunch of naked kids. I left some of my notes in here. These are notes he put on. Like don't lose the Obi strip. It adds value over time. But anyway, so bunch of naked kids climbing up a hill, and I don't know how many people pay attention to this, but the album covers for Led Zeppelin are a whole nother story altogether. They were all unique, and they didn't happen by accident. I mean, they had people working on, coming up with the perfect album covers. Anyway, so House is the Holy, fantastic album. Highly recommend that. And 4. I would say 1 through Houses of the Holy is essential if you like Led Zeppelin. After that, I mean, I've got so many other things, I've got, compilation box sets and CDs and albums. And I've got the Mothership, a 3-album set with a big fat booklet in it. I've got some nice stuff on CD. I've got Celebration Day with Jason Bonham. And I'm waiting for the album to come out. No one has it. You got to pay big bucks for it if you want to buy it on eBay. Twice as much, 3 times as much as what Tower Records sells it for when it's in stock. So I'm waiting for that to come out. I can't wait to get that. So my collection is always going to be growing until there's nothing left to buy of Led Zeppelins. And it's the same with Jimi Hendrix. I'm way behind. I've got 21 Hendrix albums. I think there's like 50 of them out right now. And they just keep coming out. So I don't know if I'll ever catch up. They'll probably be putting them out from now on. Jimmy played virtually all day and night. And a lot of stuff got recorded. So anyway, let's see. Groovy Lisa, 1 through 4, Houses of the Holy and Physical Graffiti are worth owning. Absolutely. Well, Lisa, what do you think about Houses of the Holy, number 5? That would be number 5 on the list. Yeah, I'm not trying to ignore the chat. I just I'm so caught up in going through these albums, and I'm really not that far into it yet. I'm only on 10 of 20, and we've been it's almost an hour, which I usually try to keep my show cut to. So I might have to speed up a little bit. And I really appreciate everybody in the chat. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Hey, Dr. Rick's here. Good to see you, Dr. Rick. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you guys accepting the fact that I canceled. 2 years I've been doing my Sunday night podcast at 6:30. Well, actually started on Saturday. One of my co-hosts was in a band. He said, "Royce, can you just move it to Sunday?" Or Saturday. It was on Friday. Excuse me. It was on Friday. And he said, "Can you just move it on Saturday? We practice on Friday." So I moved it, and the first week I moved it, they couldn't do their practice on Friday, and they had to do it on Saturday. So my co-host didn't come. It's like, you can only move around so much. There's no perfect time. So anyway, Dr. Rick says, going back to the doc, they failed surgery day after tomorrow. What? The same. Going back to the doc. They did that failed surgery day after tomorrow. Oh man, I'm sorry. Sorry to hear that. I hope hope you get it all straightened out. Okay, so let's move on to my 11th favorite song, and that is "In My Time of Dying," Physical Graffiti once again, 1975. Physical Graffiti came out. An absolute mountain of a track, okay? Clocking in at 11 minutes and 6 seconds. 11 frickin' minutes, God. "In My Time of Dying" is the longest song recorded by Led Zeppelin. Endlessly shifting up and down gears, "In My Time of Dying," a blues rock tour de force, fueling electric heaviness with the acoustic Delta blues slide guitar. This is a great song. It's on Physical Graffiti, which is their fifth album, right before Houses of the Holy. Although the 4 members of Led Zeppelin were given songwriting credits on the sleeve notes of Physical Graffiti. "In My Time of Dying," also known as Jesus Make Up My Dying Bed is a traditional gospel song that takes its title from a passage in the Bible, from a Bible verse that reads, "The Lord will strengthen him upon the bed of languishing. Thou wilt make all beds in his sickness." Okay, whatever. Recorded by numerous artists, including the Lovin' Spoonfuls, John Sebastian. Oh, he's great. And Bob Dylan. No one quite reimagined it like Led Zeppelin. That's what I mean. Led Zeppelin makes every song they do their own, whether it was a cover or whatever. Anyway, bizarrely, the song ends up with a coughing fit, purported to be Bonham and Plant singing the word cough. Whatever. Okay, so that's kind of funny. But anyway, that's a great song, In My Time of Dying. Next on my list, from Led Zeppelin 2, 1969. This was a great song. This might have been my second favorite song after a Whole Lotta Love. And it was my second favorite song on Led Zeppelin 2. And that was Ramble On. That is just such... Have you heard Ramble On, you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
one of my
God.
absolute favorite, yeah.
Exactly. It's still a favorite of mine, too.
Yeah, that intro when you feel like a stepping at the same time he's playing guitar is, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, which one is this?
That's Led Zeppelin 2.
2, okay.
Yeah,
that's a little hard to say.
Yeah, that's a Japanese
issue. I've heard nothing but good things about the Japanese issues. I mean, they basically invented electronics pretty much. They've got a lot of Beatles stuff out too. Japanese pressings.
We are not talking about Deep Purple, but I've been fortunate to find a copy of Deep Purple live in Japan in Japanese press. One of the best sounding record I have.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Absolutely, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. Some people say they have lack of bass. I don't agree. It depends very much upon the genre of the year. But
okay. So you were saying when Japan presses these, there's a lack of bass if they remaster.
Some people say this is what I heard on the VC. But if you follow the channel of Michael Ricefield Records. I don't know if you're familiar with. Yeah,
I'm familiar with Ricefield Records. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's an American. He's retired in Japan, so he does a very interesting videos about.
Okay, I think I remember something about that. Yeah.
Very very cool chap. We often discuss in live streams. His name is Michael, and he does video about stores, about records, about his life as a retired American guy in Japan. So it's very interesting to find out about.
That is very interesting. Yeah. Dr. Rick, Royce, you're right. Once Zepp does someone else's song, it's hard to think of it being anyone else's. That's absolutely right. That's. I think we all feel that way. They're just unique. They're the greatest rock band of all time. And I think they'll be around for multiple decades. I never dreamed in 1969 when I had, or 1970, by then I had Led Zeppelin 1, 2, and 3. It never even occurred to me that this many years later, not only would I still be listening to it, but it seems like everybody's still listening to it. I mean, that is classic rock. They have their own radio stations. Everybody's not listening to it in reality. There's a lot of stuff much bigger out there. People that I don't really pay much attention to be honest with you.
Robert Plant has got one of the greatest voices I think I've ever heard, especially in blues.
I think he's the greatest frontman of all time.
The Honey Drippers, when they formed that band.
Oh yeah, I've got that.
Sea of Love.
Sea of Love. I've got that album.
Young Boy Blues.
Yeah.
Excellent songs. Right, the way he sings it is like.
Yeah, he's got a pretty big library or body of work out there post Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
And he's even still going strong now with Alison Krauss stuff. I've got one of their albums. Yeah,
quite an artist, let me tell you.
Oh yeah, no, he was the best. That's a great story how they recruited him. They tried to recruit Terry Reid, another English singer, And Terry Reid said, "Oh no, I got this other project going, but hey, why don't you go give this young guy named Robert Plant a listen? Yeah, I think he would fit in with what you're trying to do." And so, Page and John Paul Jones went and found Robert Plant singing in his basement, and went and talked to him about joining. Told him what they were going to do, asked if he was interested in singing. They listened to him sing first. He goes, "Well, let me think about it." Then he got back in touch with him, said they went and met again, and he goes, "Yeah, I want to join the band, but we have to take my drummer along, from the band that he had, Band of Joy it was called." Okay, he still kind of does some Band of Joy stuff today, kind of resurrected it. But anyway, so Robert Plant had the Band of Joy with John Bonham as a drummer, who'd been kicked out of multiple bands because he played too loud and too hard. In fact, John Bonham was good friends with all the Led Zeppelin guys, because they all hung out, they all lived in Birmingham and stuff. And John Bonham was the best man at Tony Iommi's wedding. And I did a video on that. I did a video on that. It's really funny because you talk about somebody getting drunk. That was John Bonham. And anyway, you ought to check that video out. You'll get a kick out of it. And so they were all friends, and John would always want to sit in on the drum set, Bill Ward's drum set, right? And so finally he asked Tony. Bill, I don't know where Bill was at the time. They were in a bar playing and stuff, and Tony goes, "Yeah, go ahead, John." And John went up there, and they were good buddies, Iommi and Bonham. Bonham went up there and just completely wrecked his drum set, playing it too hard. I mean, just fucking destroyed it. And every time he went out with the master after that, and he asked, "Can I give it a go?" Bill Ward would go, "No, you're not touching my drums again."
It's as if this was all put together by, I don't know, some higher power or something to get them together like that. Because can you picture like maybe the Led Zeppelin without maybe Robert Plant and another lead singer?
I really
can't picture that.
That voice is so damn unique.
So and basically, Bonham not having him in the band and having somebody else, I just can't picture the band.
There you go.
Without those two,
nobody plays like John Bonham.
You know what I mean?
Son.
It's just as if something.
Well, imagine somebody other than Jimmy Page on the guitar.
Faith maybe or something. Yeah.
Well, it makes you wonder.
Page on the guitar. Right. It's like it's amazing.
Right. Exactly. Okay, so Ramble On. We talked about that. It was despite being one of Led Zeppelin's greatest and most enduring songs, incredibly, they never performed Ramble On in its entirety until it was the Ahmet Ertegun tribute. Ahmet Ertegun was the co-founder of Atlantic Records, and he's the first one. They went. Peter Grant, who Jimmy asked if he wanted to manage them, was going to go look for a record label. He told Jimmy to come along. Everybody knew Jimmy Page. He was a famous session musician, and the Yardbirds were a big band. That was the last band he was in. Anyway, so Ahmet Ertegun heard that Peter Grant and Jimmy Page were in the building looking for a record label, and he sent the word down, sign them, we're their label, just like that. And so they were all, there was a lot of mutual respect there. He knew greatness. He didn't have to wait for him to cut a couple of albums. But the nice thing about it is Jimmy Page was already successful. He was never going to be at the mercy of the record labels. So he paid for all the studio time on their first two albums. So he didn't have to, cut a really bad deal. He'd finish a concert tour and be broke, like so many others had done. But anyway, so Ramble On, it was a tribute to Ahmet Ertegun at London's OZ Arena in December 2007, where the track segued into a brief snippet of what is and what should never be, kind of a little medley there. Okay, so anyway, explaining how he achieved the violin-esque tone on the solo, Page told Guitar World, I used the neck pickup on my Les Paul, backed off on the treble knob and the guitar and ran it to a sustainer Roger Mayer, Roger Mayer, legendary Jimi Hendrix engineer, made for him years before. When I was recording it, I was thinking in terms of making a sound sort of like a string arrangement. That's the one thing about Jimmy Page. He did a lot of experimenting, you know. He'd lay down multiple guitar tracks on some of these songs, some of them almost impossible to play, you know, live, you know. You just have to pick one little guitar part and go with it. But anyway, he at least he had John Paul Jones there too. John Paul Jones was the bassist, keyboardist, played some other stringed instruments, the clavet or something like that, which was kind of a keyboard and strings, and he played a number of things and guitar. I've seen him playing guitar. Okay, he was an excellent musician. He doesn't get quite, you know, he doesn't get the same credit that Jimmy Page or Robert Plant or even John Bonham's drumming gets, but he was an equal partner and equally as good at what he did as any of them were. He was fantastic. Okay, so anyway, Ramble On, great song. That was my number 12. Any comments out there? Let me see. Let me get. I know the chat's got a lot of comments going on. Let me see if I can pull some comments on some of our friends up so we can take a peek. Robert Plant was always huge. Haven't you seen The Song Remains the Same concert footage? Yes, I have. I have seen that. No, I don't have it. I found it on Netflix. And I love the opening part, you know, where there's kind of a scene written by each of the, you know, the 4 band members, and then also by Peter Grant, you know, that early gangster scene, and then the one where Jimmy Page is climbing up the mountain, and there's the guy, you know, Father Time or whatever he is, holding the lantern. That is great stuff. I really like it. I'm glad you brought that up because I want to go see it. I want to watch that again. Okay, 2 from the trunk. Hey, brother, how you doing? Jack Black said they sold their souls to the devil. I love that, man. I can believe that because, I mean, they sounded unearthly, not of this earth. Yeah, thanks for commenting. I'm going to put a link up if you have any interest in joining us for whatever time we have left. This is going much slower than I thought, but I bit off a lot by picking 20 songs. I started with 10, and then I go, I can't leave this one out. And pretty soon I'll make it 12. Then I made it 50, and then I made it 20. And it's like, I can't do any more than that right now. I don't want to do 100. You know, I mean, there wasn't 100, but
it's difficult to keep it to 10 for little Led Zeppelin. That's all.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, it's difficult to keep it for 10. I mean, yeah.
They're all good. They're all good.
They're all good. They're absolutely all good. That's how I feel. I'm a huge Led Zeppelin fan, and I have been since I was 16 years old. And I'm just got Tectronic Architects has been here. I've noticed him go by in the chat. I haven't been able to do a lot with the chat here, so we'll get a few comments up, and we've got the link up if anybody wants to hop on the show with us for a little bit. So, okay, this next song, my number 13, also on Led Zeppelin 4. I think about half my favorite songs are on Led Zeppelin 4. But this one is called Black Dog. Of course, Led Zeppelin 4 came out in 1971. So Black Dog, what a great song. What great guitar parts in that. You know, arguably one of Led Zeppelin's most instantly recognizable songs. Positively brimming with swagger, Black Dog is the sound of Led Zeppelin at their most primal, poised, and powerful. Primal, poised, and powerful, okay? Opening with Plant's inspired a cappella cry of, hey, hey, mama, say the way you move, gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove. Yeah. Oh, nice.
What a guitar.
Very, very nice. Oh, yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, very nice, man. Thanks for showing these as we go along here. Okay, for fact lovers out there, the song's title is derived from a black Labrador retriever, the song Black Dog, that makes sense, that wandered the grounds at Headley Grange Studios, where the song was recorded. I love that. I absolutely love that little story. Black
Yeah.
Dog wandering the grounds. I mean, that's just epic. Okay, so the next one for me is on Houses of the Holy. We're going to have a few Houses of the Holy songs here now. And this is called the Rain Song. Are you guys familiar with the Rain Song at all?
Mm.
No?
Not really. Not really.
Okay. Gorgeous ballad, nothing short of transcendental. Throughout its all too short 7 minutes and 40 seconds. That cracks me up because when Jimi Hendrix turned in his first batch of songs for the Jimi Hendrix Experience, the label told him, no fucking way, man. Nobody's going to buy a song over 3 minutes. So, so he had to go back and cut them down to 3 minutes each, And can you just imagine what you lost? Of course, you get to see it live now. All the stuff that got cut out. He'll improvise and keep playing and show you stuff you've never seen before anywhere. But I thought that was funny, And then here, not too many years later, you got 8-minute songs, 11-minute songs, short songs, songs that are considered short at 7 minutes, a short 7 minutes and 40 seconds. Didn't hurt them one bit either. Okay. Although, believe it or not, Led Zeppelin never had a top single, a number one single on the Billboard Top 100. I think the closest they got was like 14. And I don't know if that, I'll have to look that up. I had it written down someplace. I'm just not sure where it's at right now. But okay, so that was Black Dog. Hey, mama, said the way you move, gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove. I know. Robert Plant was just perfect for those lyrics.
I love it.
No, absolutely.
Man.
Okay, so my next one, actually, I think I already started talking about the Rain Song, Houses of the Holy. The gorgeous ballad, nothing short of transcendental. Throughout its all too short 7 minutes and 40 seconds. We did say that. In fact, Plant himself ranks the track as the greatest vocal performance with Led Zeppelin, telling that to Rolling Stone magazine in 2005. I'd say that the Rain Song, imagine Robert Plant calling that the greatest song. Best, I'd reached a point where I knew that to get good, I couldn't repeat myself. The high falsetto screams had become kind of a calling card. The Beatles' George Harrison was a massive Led Zeppelin aficionado and even appeared on John Bonham's 25th birthday party in 1973, inadvertently inspired the Rain Song when he bemoaned their lack of ballads. Harrison complained they didn't write any ballads, and so Jimmy Page told biographer Brad Talinsky, George was talking to Bonzo one evening and said, "The problem with you guys is that you never do ballads." And he said, so I said, "I'll give him a ballad." And I wrote the Rain Song, which appears on Houses of the Holy. You'll notice I even quote something in the song's first two chords. Okay, so that's kind of interesting that George Harrison had a role in that, and that's great. I love those little side stories. Okay,
yeah.
My number 15 is 10 Years Gone by Physical Graffiti, not by Physical Graffiti. 1975, a track that flaunts Jimmy Page's musical genius. 10 Years Gone posts layers of hypnotic interweaving guitars and a simply sublime solo. In fact, Page reportedly used 14 guitar tracks to overdub the harmony section. 14 guitar tracks. Oh my God. Originally intended to be an instrumental track, Robert Plant added the somewhat nostalgic lyrics later, which are dedicated to an old girlfriend who told him, "It's me or your music." 10 years earlier. Thankfully, Percy opted for the music. There's an interesting story why they started calling Plant Percy. One version of the story is it stands for penis. And Robert Plant always had the tight pants on, right? Anyway, so Plant said in a 1975 interview, I was working my ass off before joining Zeppelin, a lady I really dearly loved. Right? It's me or your fans. Not that I had fans, but I said, I can't stop. I got to keep going. I could probably relate to her, but she could never relate to me. Oh, yeah. Okay. So my number 15 favorite Led Zeppelin song now is Dazed and Confused. And that's Led Zeppelin 1. And that is a bitchin' song. I used to play that initial guitar. Yeah, Led Zeppelin 1. Have you seen the version? The first, I think they put out 200 or 2,000. I can't remember the number. But instead of red writing Led Zeppelin, it was turquoise. Have you seen that, Rami? Oh, you got the plum label. Is that an original pressing, or at least an early pressing?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. The plum label.
Yeah.
That's more rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it. That's awesome.
It's not one of the very first, because one of the very first on the cover, I think it's on purple. Led Zeppelin is written on purple.
No. It's turquoise. I was just bringing that
turquoise.
up.
Turquoise.
If you want the turquoise, I'm on a watch list on eBay for the turquoise. So like every other month, there's a new one coming on, and they're anywhere from like $2,500 to $7,500. If Led Zeppelin is written in turquoise, yeah. Dr. Rick James, language Caitlin. You're taking some liberties here now, Kate. Everybody ought to go to Caitlin's channel and subscribe. Caitlin's Magical Corner. We go back a long ways, and she's actually a photojournalist, and she gets to go cover concerts and writes reviews on them and stuff like that. But she's got her own show, Caitlin's Magical Corner, and it just keeps getting better and better and better. Every time I turn it on, I expect her to have more subscribers than me. Anyway, and that's all good. I hope she does. But anyway, okay, this is a perfect segue into my subscriber situation. Okay. I've been stuck at 970 subscribers for a week now. And, of course, anybody podcasting, there's that milestone, that first milestone of 1,000 subscribers where you feel like you've actually arrived as a podcaster. And for some reason, somebody's not wanting me to arrive as a podcaster because I just having the hardest time. I mean, I've gotten 26 in one day before, but I'll get 3 or 4 like back to back real quick. And I'm like, oh man, it's really taken off now. And I don't see anything for a week and a half. I get frustrated. You know what? Subscribing, and I know your show's growing too, Johnny, but subscribing doesn't cost 1 red cent. Yeah. Subscribing costs nothing. It just helps the show to grow and makes those people that are spending countless hours doing this, feel a little more rewarded, when we see that people are liking the show, people are subscribing to the show, people are hitting the thumbs up during the show, which lets the algorithm know that people like it, and you wind up getting put in front of more people that are searching for content. If you get a lot of thumbs up, people are just Googling things and looking for something to watch. And if you get a lot of thumbs up and your topic is anywhere near what they're looking for, they're going to grab your show and put it in front of these people and suggest that they watch this. And so that's the importance of hitting that like or thumbs up button. It really helps us to get noticed, and it helps to grow the channel, just like subscribing helps to grow the channel. So anyway, I know I need to get busy. I know I need to do not just the longer live podcasts, which is usually on Sunday, Monday today, but I love doing the short shows too. I've got some anywhere from 6 to 18 minutes long. And my short one, which is in my up close and personal playlist, is about the lost jam session between Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath. And it's about 18 minutes long. I've got like 6,300 views on that, in 5 or 6 months. So that's been a big show for me, and it was 18 minutes long. I've also got other playlists. I've got Royce Construction. I'm a contractor. I've got I've got videos on there with 12,000 views, 6,000 views, 4,000 views. My construction videos do better than my music videos. And I have other shows like other playlists like tours of famous places where I've taken all kinds of tours of places, whether it's downtown Fremont Street in Las Vegas, whether it's Calico Ghost Town, whether it's Clint Eastwood's ranch in Carmel. Went there for dinner, then went down to the Hog Breath Inn that he owned for 27 years. Just had a ball in the bar there, cutting up with the employees and some of the other people working. And I videoed the whole thing, and I have that. I have all kinds of stuff on my tours of famous places. Yeah, and I'm also a real estate agent, my wife and I. So we have even one on real estate, and it kind of segues into the tours and stuff because we're talking about our area and the real estate in our area and things like that. But anyway, this is what I call my flagship because I love doing this and I love talking about music. And it's not like I'm a know-it-all. I've learned a lot by doing this, and anyway, and I've really enjoyed learning a lot. It's been a fun time, but it would be nice to get a few more subscribers. You know what I mean? Okay, so okay, so let's see. We didn't cover 16 yet, and that's on Led Zeppelin 1, Dazed and Confused. That's a great song. It was originally recorded by folk rock singer
Jack Holmes. Jake Holmes, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Thank you. Man, you got this stuff down. Jimmy Page had previously performed the Dazed and Confused live with the Yardbirds. And he also has it on the new Yardbirds. I have that album before they branded themselves Led Zeppelin. And if I do a Led Zeppelin show in the next couple of weeks, I'll pull all my Zeppelin stuff out. I don't remember how many albums I have. I've got when it comes to the Beatles, I have 20, 21 albums. Jimi Hendrix, 21, 22 albums. Led Zeppelin, I know I have a lot, especially counting CDs, but I don't have as much as I do Beatles and Jimi Hendrix. And
this is new to me.
What's that?
This is new to me about the Yardbirds and and going to that. I've never known that.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you want to see that? You want to see that album? I'll grab it.
So it's new to me.
Well, like I said, Jimmy Page was the last guitar player playing in the Yardbirds when they broke up, and they had all these Scandinavian tour dates scheduled, and so to be able to go fulfill the dates as the Yardbirds, they branded themselves the New Yardbirds and took off, and they were well received. And I will grab that album.
Wow, the stuff you learn on this. Everybody's left. I'm the only one here. What the hell?
Well, that didn't take too long. Okay. So here we go. Here we go, guys. We have the new Yardbirds. There's Page and Plant. Page and Plant right there, the new Yardbirds. And here they are, the whole Led Zeppelin band.
Jeez.
As the new Yardbirds. And what's interesting is there's a reason why it only took 35 hours to record Led Zeppelin 1, because half the freaking songs on Led Zeppelin 1 they were doing as the new Yardbirds live. I mean, listen to this track list. Communication Breakdown, Led Zeppelin 1. I Can't Quit You. I believe that's Led Zeppelin 1. Okay, Jake. Oh, okay, Jake Holmes. Yeah.
This is the actual album where Jack Holmes he has written the song Dazed and Confused. This is the album when these songs appear.
Okay.
So he had played, and I think Jim McCarthy found the album and gave it to Jimmy Page, and the rest is history. But this is
that's awesome.
That's the one. I don't have a copy.
What,
this is a yeah.
Okay.
This is some French guy. He wrote a book about obscure bands, obscure albums, and I wish I had a copy of that one. So
wow,
I know the story. Yeah,
that's an awesome story. Got Killing Floor, the Lemon Song, Side 2, Fresh Garbage Medley. That's all right. Dazed and Confused. We just covered that. And so, like I said, there's a reason why it only took them 35 hours to record Led Zeppelin 1. They'd been playing half the songs already on their concert tour. So these extreme rare concerts were recorded live at Winterland and London's Playhouse Theatres for the BBC. Special thanks to the Big L, the staffs of the Playhouse Theatre, and Winterland and Deborah. And right down here it says 1969 Live Rarities. And that is the new Yardbirds prior to them becoming Led Zeppelin. Yeah.
I think I heard like Eric Clapton being in the Yardbirds.
Eric Clapton was in there before Jimmy Page. Jimmy Page and Jeff Beck were actually in there at the same time.
I didn't know that.
In fact, Jeff Beck left before Page left, before the band broke up.
Wow.
And was working on Beck's Bolero, and he asked, Jimmy Page to come do some guitar playing on his album, his solo album. Yeah.
What? See, I just learned something.
Yeah. Eric Clapton left the Yardbirds and joined John Mayall for only one album.
Yeah, he thought the Yardbirds were getting a little too poppy. He wanted to be strictly blues. So it's got,
Exactly,
so it's
After For Your Love,
John Mayall and the Blues Breakers featuring Eric Clapton. I have that album. Yeah, I have that album.
Yeah, this is why I come on Royce's show. I get to learn stuff.
Thank you.
But there are some similarities between Eric Clapton and Led Zeppelin. I mean, the way they were playing the gigs. Cream.
Cream. Oh, I love Cream.
Cream
was like a game changer for me. I'd kind of moved away from rock a little. I never stopped listening to it, but I was listening to a lot of soul music. 66, 67, and then the Cream came out, and then Creedence Clearwater came out, and I just lost my mind, and pretty soon I just I ran out and bought Israeli gears. Yeah.
Green, yeah.
Right. So many just fantastic bands were coming out, and it's always fun. Royce, this show should get you to 1,000 tonight. Dan, thank you. I'm almost afraid to look. I don't think my heart can take it anymore.
I will repost on my small channel the show afterwards. So maybe
tell us about your channel for a minute, would you please?
Yeah, no problem. So basically, I started 1 year ago, and I'm talking about my life as a French vinyl collector who started in France. I had a lot of changes back in the days. I was working in Switzerland, so I was traveling a lot to Germany, to the UK. So I was kind of building up a decent collection of records back then. And I moved to Canada 2 years ago. So I brought my entire collection. Now I'm very close to Vermont, to the US. So I keep on going with discovering new stuff. But now, of course, I'm part of the vinyl community. I'm talking about my story, and I have this different point of view as a European.
Yeah.
No,
that's great. That's awesome. What have you been covering lately on your show? How often is your show play?
I don't have a show. I don't have a live stream. I took part in several live streams in the UK vinyl community, with the French, with some of the Americans. I'm talking about a lot of progressive music lately, prog rock, classic rock as well, blues, hard blues, obscure bands, mainly period coverings from 1965 up until 1975. So UK, US band. Americana. Right. I recently discovered Gene Clark, for instance. I got a chance to get a hold of a copy made with Doug Dillard, and I'm gonna be doing an Americana thread pretty soon. I was Americana I was tagged by Rachel's Ghost. Sam St. John. Sam St. John. He's
it's Sam St. John. That's correct. Yeah. He's really benefited from that tag. But anyway, there's so many people doing it, and I think I think the subscribers are just pouring in right now. But anyway, I'm going to do it. I've been putting together my stuff. I think I've got about I'm going to say I have 25 albums to choose from to do that Americana tag. That's kind of a big tent. That whole topic of Americana is kind of roots based. The roots of our country, but it also incorporates like country. Elements of country, folk, soul, R&B,
Blues.
and pop and rock and blues. There's,
Uh,
and if you're mixing, mixing it up in gospel, if you got kind of a mix and it's kind of a little rootsy, then that's all Americana. And I've been watching some of the other guys' shows, trying to get an idea of what people are doing, and I see a lot of stuff that I've never heard of before that can date back to the 40s and 50s. I'm not doing that. Mine might date back to Elvis. You know what I mean? And predates some Elvis a little bit, but anyway, like I said, it's a pretty broad tent, and everybody's that's doing it is personalized to their own taste, what they have, and stuff like that. But I've got some pretty cool stuff. I think it'll be fun to do. I just gotta get my butt in gear and do it. It won't be like a live stream like this one. It'll be like a pre-recorded, maybe 12, 15 minutes long.
I think I've done almost every one, I think.
Oh, have you?
I think so.
You did the Americana one, didn't you?
Yeah, I did most of them basically, except for the punk
Right.
rock one. I didn't do the punk
Right.
rock because I'm not into the punk rock stuff. So
Yeah, no, and I never was really into punk, but okay.
I mean,
Dr. Rick asked me a question. How do you do promotion of your YouTube? Is subscriber growth driven solely by word of mouth? That's a really, really good question. I mean, the vinyl community all gets notified when my shows are going to come on, but there's a lot of competing shows. Just like my friend Patrick, the vinyl archivist, he's changed his name recently. His show used to start as my show was ending. Now his show starts at exactly the same time on Sunday that my show's ending, because everywhere he goes, he feels like he's, there's somebody else there or whatever, So it's all complicated, but the notice does go out to the vinyl community when my show's coming on. People have a lot to pick from. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's somebody else. But I did a lot of advertising on my social media when I first started it, and Facebook didn't like that too much. They kind of gave me a warning about promoting my show on Facebook. In fact, I joined all these Facebook groups. I probably had 10 Beatle groups, 10 Rolling Stones groups. I'm exaggerating, 4 of this, 3 of that, whatever. But every time I'd make a show, I'd copy the link, and I would advertise on all of those places. And people didn't always like that. It wasn't that well received. It was kind of like you're just there grandstanding, trying to promote your own show. You're not really wanting to be part of this Bob Marley group or this Eric Clapton group. You're just really there to promote yourself. It's kind of the way a lot of people look at it. But I did get a few subscribers from that and a few views from that. And people talked about it a little bit in the chat rooms on those places, but or in the thread, But it wasn't really that productive. I finally quit doing all of that. I used to tag 100 friends for my show. I would tag their names so they'd get the notification of my show. Then I got so fucking embarrassed, man. I went to one of my friends' channels who doesn't come on very often, and all his whole thread was like 6 months of my shows that I tagged him. They all went to his channel. It was all he had on his fucking channel. I go, oh my God, he must hate me, So I finally figured out that wasn't working real well. I think it drove more people away than I gained. So, the bottom line is I can't make excuses. It's just all about content. People got to like what you're doing. If they like what you're doing, I mean, look at my dear friend Michael Nolan here, one of my best friends. I mean, I remember when he had 600 subscribers, 600, and I think I had like 200 at the time. Michael Nolan has over 32,000.
Wow.
Right now,
I could see that.
He does a good job. People respond well, and they subscribe. Now, these aren't people that necessarily run out and subscribe to everybody else's channel, but I do want to say, I know that some of the people that subscribe to Michael's channel have subscribed to mine. And I just want to thank you all so much. Anybody that's watching, whether you're in the chat or not in the chat, in particular, if you came from Michael's channel, because Michael and I are really tight, and he does a lot of call outs, and he puts little snippets of our shows. He co-hosts a lot with me. He'll put snippets of our shows on his channel and in his Patreon account and stuff like that. And I think everybody here that hasn't subscribed to Michael Nolan, who's up here right now, the bottom line needs to get over there and subscribe. And if you want to, Be a tribal elder. Join his Patreon. I did.
Jeez, I
And
better
you
go
get all this-
subscribe now.
You get all this. You get all this special stuff in the Patreon thing. You get shows that either well before anybody else sees them, or you get to see content that nobody else sees. You know, and it's just a few bucks. It's not. You're not paying them $100 a month or anything like that. But it all adds up. You know, we're all. You know, everybody. A lot of people look at this as kind of a second income. Michael went full time doing this, and you know, he's at 32,000 subscribers. He's doing really well. I really respect Michael. He does a great job, and he puts everything into it. It's pours his heart and soul into it. It's a full-time job for him. I still have to work. I still have to work for a living, construction and real estate. I can't do this full time. It seems like I'm always running out of time before the show starts. You know, I'm dealing with the anxiety of not being quite ready. You know?
Michael keeps you engaged. Because when I watch him, I'm kind of like, I'm so focused on what he's so like, you know, this is what I'm telling you, you know, like the way he says things and everything. It just, I'm sitting there like going, wow, this guy knows his shit. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and he's way better at the F-bombs than I am. I'm catching up though, you know. I mean, I'm a construction worker. Nobody cusses more than a construction worker. But I had to kind of reel it in a little bit when I had 3 little girls. I didn't want to be slipping around the house. So I kind of cleaned up my language quite a bit. Not super clean.
Your content has to be more concrete.
Yes.
Sorry, the stupid joke.
Right. No, it's a good joke.
No, it's stupid. Sorry about that.
No, it was great.
But it's weird how it happens. Because
right.
Like, you know, it is word of mouth, because I learned about Rachel's show from Tommy Temper, because he knew I like music, the oldies and doo-wop stuff and music. So he said, check out Rachel's show. So I checked out Rachel's show. So I've been there for a long time.
Oh,
now.
I know, you're a permanent fixture.
Then I found you.
Now.
Then I found you. And then I found Michael.
Michael,
So
yeah. Okay. You know. You found me, then Michael through Rachel.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history. And that's how it works. You know, I went on Rachel's show one day, and you know, a lot of times she starts at 6 in the morning. A lot of times I'm gone to work at 7. You know, that's kind of how the construction industry runs.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times I just can't watch it, you know, but I do when I can. But I remember one time going on her show, I don't know, a year ago or something like that. And I joined the panel, you know, like you guys are here. And I got off her show and went to my channel. I'd gained 26 subscribers from that one appearance, you know.
Yeah.
Now, you're not going to get that every time, obviously. In fact, when I when I go on now, I don't see anybody in the chat that I haven't already subscribed to, or who hasn't already subscribed to me, but I don't know. But yeah, you're not going to get that every time. Michael, she's Swiftie. Interesting. The music
she's absolutely great, Rachel. I have to point this out. She helps and she supports every channel, every person who comes to the panel. Yeah,
you're right, because you know, say what people might say about her, and you know that's the same old characters, right?
Yeah.
I found that Rachel really helped me a lot, and speaking to Rachel and Sue off the air and everything, they are really, really good people. Like Rachel puts on this thing for her show, right? Like she gets carried, gets mad or something like that. But I'm telling you, they are really beautiful people.
Absolutely.
Great people.
I totally dig Rachel. Rachel is great.
People.
You know, and I've met a lot of people on that show. Anyway, and Michael Nolan is he's at the top for me, the top of the food chain for podcasters. And I really respect what he does. My wife keeps telling me I need to just do shorter pre-recordeds like he does. It wouldn't be so stressful. But anyway, I really do like what I do. It just like I said, working full time, it seems like I never have enough time. And the Ghouls Gone Wild podcast. Hey Royce, hey, how you doing? Ghouls Gone Wild podcast, awesome. Good to see you. There's another podcast everyone needs to check out. The Ghouls Gone Wild podcast. Yeah, right on. Yeah, thanks for showing up. We appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. I subscribe to the Trob, James Watson. The tribe, yeah. Anyway, I'm sure Michael totally appreciates it. I'm a tribal elder on this channel.
Yeah, I belong to the tribe too. I'm proud to
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I think we're. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
May I ask you where are you located, Grant?
Me,
Not
I'm
precisely,
located,
but yeah.
no, the Central California coast.
Okay.
I'm in the middle. I'm 11 miles from the ocean, but I'm 250 miles from south of San Francisco and 250 miles north of Los Angeles.
LA. Okay.
Yeah, right between LA and
Oh,
San Francisco on the coast. It's a beautiful place. I mean, I really love it here.
After saying that, I used to like you. No, I can't stand you. I live in cold Ontario, and you're living in that hot, nice, beautiful weather. Oh my God, that kills me.
Okay, let's talk about No Quarter from a Bitchin' album, 1973's Houses of the Holy. And if I'm not mistaken, this is Michael's number one when it comes to Zeppelin albums, and it's really been growing on me. I haven't listened to it near as much as I have 1, 2, 3, and 4, but it's a fantastic album, and it's a real contender. And it's, like I said, it's really growing on me. Sean McCall's here. Gig at the Tea Party in London, 1969. I was not there, but I heard about it from friends. The key Zeppelin gig, the one that put everything into focus, John Paul Jones remarked in 1973. God, what a concert that would have been to. Sadly, I never got to see Zeppelin live. And I was living in LA, Long Beach area, and they were playing in San Diego, and kind of, I don't know how I missed out. I'm really depressed about that. I mean, I saw Black Sabbath twice. I was still pretty young when Hendrix died. I never got to see Hendrix. But anyway, it is what it is. No Quarter, Houses the Holy. Purposely bamboozle, challenge the listeners. Houses of the Holy brilliantly jumps from the upbeat reggae rock of Die Your Maker into the plaintive opening synthesizer melody, No Quarter. Okay. A compositional triumph. No Quarter is infused with a foreboding tension as Plant delivers ominous lines about an impending battle. Walking side by side with death, the devil mocks their every step. That are steeped in heavy metal mythology. The song's title itself is derived from the military practice of the victor showing no mercy to their defeated opponents. Boy, that's harsh, isn't it? And the macabre subject matter is reflected in the intense yet equally restrained music. As Rick Rubin pointed out to Rolling Stone, it takes such confidence to be able to get really quiet and loose for such a long time. Zeppelin completely changed how we look at popular music is. Wow, that's pretty amazing. Okay. 18, Babe, I'm gonna leave you. 1969, Led Zeppelin 1. Led Zeppelin, Zeppelin's take on the Anne Breeden penned folk song, first popularized by Joan Baez. Joan Baez, she's big. 1962 live album, Joan Baez in concert. I think I have that. I had a couple of guys I built a home for. Nice guys. We became friends. A couple of older guys. This was like in 1992. And so I built their house as a contractor. Beautiful house on 7 acres. I mean, real stunning, oaks, wood ceilings and beams and wood around all the doors, beams over the top of all the doors, stucco tile roof. Really a pretty house. Very, very unusual. Awesome house. And Frank, one of the partners, was he'd owned antique stores his whole life and things like that, where Richard was actually an engineer, drew his own plans on the house and stuff. But anyway, so I got to build a house for him, came back, put a huge addition on the back a few years later. And then as a realtor, I got to sell the house for him, you know, so it's kind of like everything was full circle. But when Frank died and Richard's, you know, niece kind of took over, she was putting him in a home because the dementia was getting bad and stuff like that. You know, she put him in a home and I was dealing with her selling the house. He insisted that only I could sell the house. I think she would have liked to change, but she would have been dishonoring. She was something, but anyway, so we sold the house and one day I'm standing there talking to Jenny, who was the niece, the executor. And I said, Richard didn't have any albums, did he? And she goes, vinyl albums? I go, yeah. And she points to this massive cabinet where the TV was kept up above. And I go over there and open the doors. And it's just, wow. There must have been 200 albums in there. Wow. I got this. You know, the guys were really into people like the Village People and Joan Baez and stuff. So I have like 5 or 6 Village People albums I probably would have never bought, but everybody kind of liked them, you know, YMCA, however they did that. We used to get out there and get drunk and dance to that and have fun.
In the Navy.
Anyway, I wound up with 5 or 6 Village People albums and at least that many Joan Baez albums, you know. No Zeppelin, no Hendrix. Stuff like that. But anyway, so now we're going to talk about let's see, number 19, Trampled Underfoot on Physical Graffiti, which came out in 75 once again. Funky, flamboyant, and positively oozing sex throughout its 5.5 minutes. Another short one. Trampled Underfoot was one of the many towering zeniths of Led Zeppelin's 1975 opus, Physical Graffiti. Lyrically a nod to an influential bluesman, Robert Johnson, that you mentioned earlier. Yeah, that's an interesting story, Robert Johnson. I did a video on Robert Johnson and the Crossroads and was asking the question why he sold his soul. At the Crossroads to be a better, you know, he disappeared for a long time. Nobody knew what happened to him. And all of a sudden he showed back up and started coming back to the clubs he used to play in, which was the Chitlin circuit, safe for African Americans. They might get strung up if they played any place where whites were, especially if they're a white woman there. But anyway, so he was on the Chitlin circuit. He comes back after being gone for a while. And that's where the story of the Crossroads came from, because he was such an incredibly improved guitar player when he came back that the story was he sold his soul at the Crossroads to be such a good guitar player. Anyway, I have a video on that. So lyrically a nod to the influential bluesman Robert Johnson's 1936 track Terraplane Blues, which uses the motor car as an extremely thinly veiled metaphor for sex. Trampled Underfoot is packed with overt innuendo thanks to lines like "Mama, let me pump your gas," and "Baby, let me check your points." Jesus Christ. Testament to Led Zeppelin's effortless ability to fit between genres. Trampled Underfoot is more synonymous with Stevie Wonder and Motown than with traditional rock music. Somewhat refreshingly, it's John Paul Jones who truly takes center stage. Oh yeah, here's where he's playing his funky as hell disco grooves on his clavinet. I wondered if that was a typo when I first read it. Did he mean clarinet? And so I went and found clavinet, and it's like a keyboard stringed instrument. It was a real trippy thing, you know. So he took center stage playing the clavinet, a stringed keyboard instrument built by Hohner. And that bounced off Jimmy Page's wah wah and John Bonham's burly beats. Okay, so yeah. that was an interesting story too.
Baby, let me check your points, baby. How about baby,
let me pump your gas and check your.
Let me check your headlights.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so last but not least, on my list of my top 20 Led Zeppelin songs is a song, "The Battle of Evermore."
Evermore.
Yeah, Led Zeppelin 4, okay, featuring the vocals of this is the first time vocals were shared on a song. The late Fairport Convention singer Sandy Denny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beguiling and mythical Celtic folk tune, "The Battle of Evermore" is the only Led Zeppelin track to feature a guest singer. Okay, just like fellow Led Zeppelin 4 offshoot, "Going to California," the song centers on acoustic guitar and mandolin alongside Denny and Plant's sublime vocals. Okay, incredibly, Page and Plant wrote "The Battle of Evermore" music on the fly, with the guitarist telling Trouser Press in 1977, "It was made up on the spot by Robert and myself. I just picked up John Paul Jones' mandolin, never having played a mandolin before, and just wrote up the chords and the whole thing in one sitting." I mean, I love that. I mean, that's that's incredible, you know. Just like Ramble On and Misty Mountain Hop, "The Battle of Evermore" is highly influenced by J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. They were really into all that mystical stuff, you know. With some fans surmising it's essentially about the Battle of Pelennor from Return of the King characters Aragorn. I'm not that familiar with those books. I never read them. The Prince of Peace embraces the gloom. The Queen of Light took her bow, and evil Sauron, the Dark Lord, rides in forces tonight, and his blood-curdling ring rats. Okay, the ring rats ride in black, ride on, and are referenced, however, in somewhat of a curveball. Plant also sings about the angels from Avalon. Okay, so that was number 20. So I got through this, and like I said, it's okay. It was 2 hours, not 1 hour. Okay, I did not intend for that to happen, but you know what? Sometimes it just does, and when
you're having fun, you know,
when it just does, you just have to run with it. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do? Oh my God, it's late. What am I going to do after this? You know, go out and watch TV.
Well, what time is it there, Royce?
You know, I ate right before the show. My wife cooked steak, baked potato, vegetables. It was a great dinner. You know, I was even given.
It's 11:23 p.m. here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 8:23 here. Yeah.
Yeah. Same time. We're oh geez.
Yeah, you and I, Johnny. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The music.
Sorry, I'm trying to remember your name, but I can't remember.
No problem. As long as you remember, as long as people remember the name of my channel, it's fine.
Boy, am I jealous right now of the Music Sanctuary, man. My first concert, May 69. I was 9 years old and saw Vanilla fucking Fudge. Oh my, was that with Nico? Vanilla Fudge with Nico? She was hot. With guest Led Zeppelin. My oldest brother got stuck babysitting me. The only way he could go with his buddies to take his baby brother. I still have my stub, $3.50.
Oh my God, holy crap!
So amazing.
Oh
my God. Yeah, Michael's jealous too. I mean, neither one of us ever got to see Zeppelin, and we're two of the biggest Zeppelin fans there are.
Jesus, $3.50. Can you imagine?
No, I can't. I can't remember what some of the concerts I used to go to at the Las Vegas Convention Center back where I lived. And when I moved to California, I saw the Rolling Stones in 72 at the Long Beach Arena, downtown Long Beach, where I was living. And that was a great concert. It was Exile on Main Street, promoting Exile on Main Street, their newest double album out. I've got that. I finally found a perfect original pressing of Exile on Main Street. There's nothing like finding a perfect album of a concert you saw 50 years ago or more, you know? And I mean, the postcards hadn't been torn apart. I mean, it looked like it was brand new. And I never thought I'd find it. I tell you, I really paid way too much for it. But everything I'd seen was all ratty looking and stuff like that. and I just couldn't help myself. I just bought it. Fuck it. What are you going to do? I mean, I still need to get Bridges to Babylon the second time I saw the Rolling Stones in Portland, Oregon. And that was still a great show. And I'll never forget the funny statement my wife made. She goes, the big difference between the show here in Portland 26 years later and the show we saw together in Long Beach. Yeah, I wasn't even married to my wife yet. We were at the Long Beach concert for the Stones together. She goes, the biggest difference is the size of the panties the women are throwing on the stage, They've grown in size over the years, But anyway, I thought that was funny. I can't help myself when I get a chance to tell that. But that was a good concert. My daughter bought us those tickets for Christmas to go see them there. And then I had tickets to see the Stones in San Diego, the No Filters tour, when COVID hit. And we'd bought the seats. As soon as I heard about it, I bought the seats online. We booked a room. We booked a flight. I mean, it's really only a 5-hour drive, but it was like, fuck it. Well, let's just fly down there and get a hotel room and just leave the driving and flying to somebody else. So anyway, what happened was COVID hit, and all of a sudden we started trying to get our money back. And Ticketmaster was saying, well, it's not canceled. It's just postponed. You don't get your money back when it's postponed. So I waited a few months and I called. No, it's not canceled. It's just postponed. I waited a couple of months. I called. They go, oh, you missed. There was a window of opportunity. If you'd asked for your money back, we could have given it to you. But it's too late. But it's too late now. And I just lost my fucking mind. I turned my secret weapon loose on them, my wife. And the very next day, the money was redeposited into our account.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife reminds me of my mother. My mother would get on the phone when she wanted something, and she would not take no for an answer. And she would pound on people till she got what she wanted.
Didn't Ticketmaster had a lot of issues at one time with tickets and stuff, selling tickets?
Oh, they've always had a lot of issues. You buy a ticket at one price, and and then when they show you the bill, it's like another $100, and it's like, what the hell is this? And then you find out it wasn't even. It was a seat that it was being resold. Somebody bought. This happened to me like what concert was that at? I think it was the Alice Cooper concert. I bought my ticket. It wasn't very expensive, but as we totaled it all up and they gave me the bill, it was like huge. And I said, I was complaining, and they said, well, this is kind of a resale. So somebody bought it and just flipped it to make money on it, a scalper, And well, why weren't you selling me the one you said was available by you? I don't know. Maybe it really wasn't. Well, what's available is available. Maybe it doesn't matter whether it's from them or a scalper or whoever. But anyway, I felt I got a little bit ripped off on that one. But anyway, so no, they were doing all kinds of shit. They were burning people bad. So anyway, you know what, guys? It's 8:28, and I didn't expect it to take this long. I really appreciate my co-hosts for coming here. Love the chat. I appreciate all my friends in the chat that support me. You don't know how much that means to me to see you guys show up, especially when we're a day later than normal. I didn't know how many people were going to get the message. I apologize. I was running out of time. I was going to put a quick poll in the comments, but I'm going to add it anyway. I will add a poll about the show, about what maybe your favorite, your favorite. I could list as many as 5. So I'll probably wind up listing like 5 because you don't get to write something in. I'll probably list as many, but you can leave a comment. List as many as 5 of the top songs and ask everybody to choose which one is their favorite. I'll do something like that in the community section. So anyway, guys, I want to thank everybody for coming in. Means a lot to us here, and I appreciate my co-host so much. And that's what's happening in Royce's world today. Thank you so much. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Royce. Take care.
Thanks,
everybody.
Come back, please. Yeah,
I will.
Come back and join us. Okay, great.
Good night, everybody. And
Bye,
peanut
everybody.
gallery.
Peanut gallery.